Hi, my name is Alex Dolphin, and welcome back to another episode of Ex Ante. Today we're going to discuss the case of Wallace versus Rosen. This case was heard in the Indiana State Court of Appeals in the year of 2002. Let's go ahead and jump into the facts of the case. Miss Wallace had a daughter at Northwest High School in the Indiana public school system, and she went to Northwest High School that day to drop something off to her daughter. When she was dropping that item off to her daughter, she met her daughter at the top of a landing of stairs. You can envision what this looks like if you've been to a high school or middle school before. Just a staircase and then the landing at the top of it. She was standing on the landing when, lo and behold, the fire alarm went off. Miss Rosen, a teacher in an adjacent classroom, needed to get her students out of the building. And to do that, she needed to get her down the stairs. So she needed to get her class down the stairs, rather. So she began to escort her class down the stairs. Miss Wallace was standing there and she wouldn't move. She didn't want to leave the building. She felt that it was a fire drill and she didn't need to participate. But Ms. Rosen kind of explained to her that, like, hey, you gotta go. This is a fire drill. The testimonies conflicted on this point. Ms. Wallace claims that Ms. Rosen pushed her down the stairs with both arms, whereas Ms. Rosen says that she just gently touched the back of her body and said that, hey, the exit's this way, you need to leave. Ultimately, the jury held that Ms. Rosen did just touch her back and then turn her 90 degrees towards the exit rather than pushing her down the stairs. But the facts were conflicted on that, so I think it's worth pointing out. Ultimately, Miss Wallace was not happy with the way she was treated and touched by Miss Rosen, so she brought a suit claiming that Miss Rosen's actions and her touching was offensive and it constituted a battery. So that was the issue that the court had to face, was Miss Rosen's, touching of Miss Wallace constitutive of a battery, and if so, how are we going to grapple with that? The trial court ruled in favor of Miss Rosen, saying that there was no battery there. The trial court judge didn't instruct the jury on battery even because he felt that it wasn't even a ballpark thing and he didn't want to confuse the jury with a battery instruction. Miss Wallace appealed, saying that the trial court judge should have instructed the jury on the battery instruction. There's just a default instruction in the state of Indiana that she felt the judge should have given to the jury. So she appealed the ruling and the verdict of her case to the Court of Appeals, saying that, hey, the battery instruction should have been given to the jury. So the Court of Appeals has to grapple with battery and have to decide whether or not this action by Miss Rosen constituted a battery, and if so, should the trial court judge have given that battery instruction to the jury? That's kind of the question in the case. Ultimately, the appeals court rules in favor of the trial court's judge's ruling and in favor of Rosen, saying that her actions could not have constituted a battery. They do so by citing Prosser, the writer of a famous torts textbook, wherein he says that in a crowded world, there just will be incidental contact. It's just going to happen. The incidental contact comes into play in a crowded world, and we can't have lawsuits for battery for any type of an incidental contact. They ruled that Miss Rosen's contact with Miss Wallace was incidental. So that was the ruling. It was in favor of Miss Rosen, and that's where the suit ended there. They said that the trial court did not err in refusing to instruct the jury on battery charges. As case summary, let's go ahead and jump into the ex ante portion, kind of some precedential value from the case. The first would be that, it does kind of allow people to get away with contact in a crowd by using this like crowded world defense. You're allowed a little bit more contact in the crowd. I think that seems naturally intuitive to a lot of us. If you might go to a concert, to a sporting event, and you're in the halls or an airport even, and the halls are narrow, you're going to bump into people naturally. But what might be a negative consequence of this is that we allow people to actually physically touch others, and then they can use this defense of saying it was in a crowd. That's not something ideal or something that we really want. I'm not sure the court fully says that, but it definitely begins us down a path where we might be able to just excuse more behavior in a crowd, citing back to this case. So that's one ex ante implication. Maybe a reason why we ought to think more about Wallace's claim here. Ultimately, Rosen did have a good point in that it was a fire drill, and we have an incentive as a society to make sure we have effective fire drills. They're important to keep people safe in case of emergencies. if we can't run effective fire drills, we're going to have more deaths ultimately when actual fire comes. If we allow people to stand there and refuse any type of movement during a fire drill, and the court rules that like, hey, you can just stand there, and if someone tries to move you, it's battery, that might not be good for society, because it would lead to less effective fire drills in the future. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day. Bye.